Looking for Cindy Grisdela. There she is. Add. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Cindy.
Hi, Pokey.
How are you? There you are. I think you're
Are we
frozen.
good?
I think so. You're freezing a little bit, but sometimes it just takes a couple seconds or so. But you're looking
Okay.
good.
Okay. Let me see if I can. Yeah, maybe that's a little better.
Now you're sideways.
Now I'm sideways.
There you are.
Okay. That's no good.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, so Cindy Grisdela Quilts, that's your handle on Instagram.
It is.
And you're hailing from Reston, Virginia.
Yep. It's a cloudy day getting ready to rain here.
Okay. And so we had you on when I started doing these a long time ago, but now that I'm able to record them, we can have a little more intense look into your studio and what you're working on.
Great. I'm looking forward to it.
So tell us where what you're working on these days.
So I just, as you know, a lot of teachers, I had a bunch of things get canceled because of the virus. And so there was a guild in New York State that asked me to do a virtual lecture and a virtual workshop.
Okay.
And so I have been working really hard getting that together, and it just happened this week.
How did it
So I
go?
made it went really well. I was a little nervous because I'd never done it before, but it was really pretty cool. And so I'm going to turn my screen around, and I can show you these quilts that I was working on to get going with this class.
Okay.
Oops. So here's my design wall. This one up on the upper with the really yellow center. That's the one that I did for the class. And what I did was I created a class that was specifically for this guild on a teaching platform. And I did step-by-step lessons and how to do everything, and that was the quilt that I did. So I have several of these. I call these improv puzzle quilts, and two of them are finished here, and then I have some that I'm working on the bottom.
So Cindy, a question for you. You said you did it on a teacher platform. I think a lot of people are interested because a lot of people are pivoting to online teaching since a
Right.
lot of person events are getting canceled. What platform did you use when you had to teach the workshop for the guild?
So I used coursecraft.net, and they were super easy. I think Timna Tar used them, and somebody else whose name I can't remember right now. But they're super easy, great tech support. The students were really happy. What I did was kind of a hybrid thing. So I did the class, the courses, it was supposed to be a 6-hour class. And I couldn't really imagine standing in front of a Zoom, computer for 6 hours.
Yep.
So I did this hybrid thing where I created the class step by step videos, text, and still pictures, because people learn differently. And then I did a Zoom meeting for an hour or so. It was on the day, which was last Wednesday. I did a Zoom meeting, and then I asked let them ask questions, and then they went and worked, and they
So to break it down a little more, did you do it into like modules, like timed kind of
there were
sections?
there were there were 15 lessons that people could work through, and not all of them had videos, but the ones that were, the ones that were really, the important construction things, I did videos for those. There was a kind of a steep learning curve for me to learn how to do my own videos because I'd never done that before, but
Right.
I figured it out.
Yeah.
and then they worked at their own pace, and then a day later I had another Zoom meeting for them to show me what they'd done.
Okay, that was my question. So I mean, because I think obviously because you want them to learn and as you said, learn at their own pace, but then kind of collectively be able to ask you questions. At
Right.
what point did you schedule the Zooms? Was it before the class started? Was it like the middle of the modules, the 15?
It was before the class started. I scheduled the Zooms and I said, I'm going to talk. We're going to have a Zoom and you can ask me any questions you want. They got access to the class ahead of
Mm-hmm.
time, so they could
Okay.
look through it and ask questions. And um, I know there's lots of different ways to do this. There are lots of teaching platforms, and some people are doing it on Facebook Live or Instagram Live. But for me, this worked. It worked well, and the students seemed to be happy. The kind of neat thing about it was that they could, they had unlike one of the good things about it, unlike in an in-person class, they had their materials all there, in their
Right.
spaces. And
They were
so if they,
their own environment. Leslie
right.
Tucker just asking, what's the name of the platform again?
It's called coursecraft.net.
Yeah,
And
coursecraft.net.
I have to say that we did have a glitch on the day. The second day, Coursecraft got hit with a denial of service malware um, uh, problem. And so people had a little trouble getting onto the platform. Again, it's coursecraft.net. But they were super quick. The the platform tech people were super quick to let you know what was going on, and they got it resolved, and it worked.
So, okay, so that's good to know. So the coursecraft.net, and then you said you coupled it with the Zoom feature so that you could do kind of person to person asking
Right.
questions. How many students did you have in the Zooms or overall in the workshop for the Guild? How many students were taking the course?
So there were, I think, 23 that were signed up.
Okay.
21 of them did it.
So how did you
Um,
managing the Zoom, the lives on the Zoom with that many people? Was it easy? Did you?
I had everybody set to speaker view, and I
Okay.
asked them to mute themselves unless they were speaking.
Okay.
And so that worked out pretty well. It filters out ambient noise of, whatever. And there were some issues. Some people were not real good with they were trying to do it on an iPad or something. They weren't as good with showing their using the phone to show their work.
Okay.
But it was just little glitches that we
Yeah.
just worked through. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good. Well, I'm
Yeah, I
glad
think
that
Leslie found the
that
found
person.
the thing and put it up. So if you're interested, I did do some webinars on teaching online. Um, but I sort of found this Coursecraft by accident, and it's not the biggest platform out there. There's others that are bigger, and I just liked the easiness of it and the support that they provided.
Excellent. Well, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
So,
So
do you have
I,
others like that planned ahead, or how are you
not
handling your?
not yet. I have offered it to other guilds, and they haven't been ready to go that route, but I'm just concerned that everything's been canceled or mostly postponed, actually, not actually canceled, but postponed through June. And I just don't know when I'm going to be able to get back out on the road and teach again.
Yeah, I
And
was actually on your website, just kind of looking at your schedule. It looks like you're pretty full throughout the rest of the year.
I was, yeah, I
Yeah,
was, and
that's
it was shaping up to be a good year, and now it's going to be it's going to be different for all of us,
yeah,
I'm not complaining. I'm
yeah,
I'm very fortunate to be here in my home studio and able to work, and I don't want to complain,
yeah.
but I was excited about this opportunity, that this guild was interested in taking a leap and trying this, and so now I feel a lot more comfortable with it.
Oh, that's good. You just kind of had to just try the initial one, and now that you know that have that knowledge base, you can take it elsewhere to another guild.
I can do it again. I can, the next guild that, I'm probably going to have to reach out to the guilds that I was scheduled to do in July and ask, just offer it, because I can now say, yes, I've done it and I know how it works and all that.
So we have a question on the floor. Patty Kopic, who was on here the other day, is asking to see if we can get an individual view of your quilts and a closer look at your quilts that are on the design wall.
Sure. Let me see. Let me turn you around. Okay, so this one is the one that I did for the class. And it's, this is a more controlled improv than I normally do, but it works well in a classroom situation. And here's a close-up of the stitching on it.
So when you say controlled, what are the parameters on that make it controlled?
Well, they're straight lines.
Okay.
I don't normally do that. And here's another one that is the same idea. All of these are sort of the same idea. And then this one's probably my favorite. I like this one a lot.
I love the addition of the white in there. The
contrast
of it is beautiful.
It makes a nice contrast, and it creates this sort of secondary design that I didn't expect. I just started making these blocks randomly, and I didn't know how they were going to end up. But I did some black and white ones, and I was really sort of happy with the way it worked out. So I've got another one down here that I'm starting
I love
that process. I don't know exactly where it's going, but I like the sort of the black and white, and then then the colors. Not sure about that big block on the other side. And then this one here is more of my sort of scrappy style. Those three pieces will all be put together. I'm thinking that I may do another class. That would be the class that I just did is not publicly available. It was just for that guild.
Okay.
And so this class I'm hoping to do so that I can just offer it and people can take it if they want to.
I love the autumnal colors in that. That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And then this one is I've just been playing with. I love color, and this one I'm just playing with sort of these bright, happy colors and using that neon yellow as sort of a big contrast there.
Oh, that is so beautiful. Love.
Thank you.
Can you go back to the one in the three, kind of the triptych in the middle of the three pieces, just to the right?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
There. Those colors, for some reason, people who know who Frida Anderson is.
Yes.
Of Chicago or area in Illinois, for some reason, like that, just those colors really just remind me of her work.
Yeah. So let me show you these blocks here. These are more my sort of my improv style. Yeah. These ones right here. So these are the ones that are sort of less controlled and much more wonky. And I like combining them with these angular blocks. And this will be the center, and then there'll be some, something else around it, I think.
Very cool. Okay, so is there
now that
go ahead.
Now that I have done the class, I feel more confident about doing it. So I'm hoping that I can do this one faster. So here's a close-up of the stitching on this one, which is a little bit different than the other one. I like to use these sort of fan motifs a lot. And I guess you can't see.
I'm having a little bit of a hard time seeing the detail. I'm not sure that that's a little better.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's still a little fuzzy, but that's okay. I think we can fill in the dots.
Okay. So
very cool. So you do all your own free motion quilting?
I do. I'm gonna pan over here a little bit, and you can see. So this is my sewing space.
Okay.
So I'm a Bernina girl, and I have a Bernina uh, 440 that I piece on, and
Okay.
then 2 years ago I invested in the Q20,
Oh my God.
um,
Okay.
and which I love. I am working on part of my sort of stress relief here during this time is to work on older pieces. Here's the first one I did. This is a obviously, old. It was probably 25 years old,
Just never quilted.
and I never quilted it. And that one on the table is the same. And so
Yeah.
the free motion relaxes me, and I just like
Yeah.
to I thought, well, I'll just take this time. I don't really have anything. I haven't finished these ones on the wall yet, so I don't really have anything going, and so I'm just doing that.
You know, I have to tell you, Cindy, almost every person I've interviewed in on these little artist chats have said how they are pulling out older work, older UFOs, and working back into them. It's
Yeah.
a remarkable constant theme that everybody's doing that right now. Um,
Well, I don't. For some reason, it's just it just makes me feel better.
yeah.
I've had the thing that's interesting about it for me too is I started out as a traditional quilter, probably over 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So clearly I did that double nine patch, but it's fascinating to me to really look at these quilts that I did before, and they
Uh-huh.
have a lot of the same, um, I don't know, attributes of the things I'm doing now. Really scrappy. Things don't necessarily go together in terms of color. I like to mix up a lot of colors at once, and it's just fascinating how that works. That I feel like we all have sort of a quilting personality,
Hmm.
and it goes through no matter what we're doing.
So I just have a question on that Q20. Can you pan back to that for just a second?
Sure. Uh-huh.
So for people who don't know, Bernina primarily sells domestic sewing machines. However, they got into the mid-arm market a few years ago. So when I mean mid-arm, for those who don't know, it's kind of the in-between quilting machine between a domestic and a long arm machine. And this one's a sit down, and it's doing really well for them. I've heard wonderful things about the Q20, how easy it is to use, and what's the biggest quilt that you've been able to work underneath the needle on the Q20?
Um, well, I make mostly wall quilts, but so I don't make bed quilts, but the biggest one I did was probably about 60 inches square,
Okay.
which is, decent size.
Sizable. Yeah, that's hard
Yeah,
to get underneath sort of a domestic.
right.
Um,
And so, I love this machine. I had another machine, before, and it was not, we didn't get along as well. And and Bernina didn't have this machine. This machine is only, I don't know, maybe somebody knows.
I
It's
want to say
only
I want to say like 3 or 4 years
3 or 4 years old.
I
Yeah,
could be wrong on that, but they introduced it at Craft Napa. I want to say about 3 years ago is when they made
yeah.
it little debut.
And it's so smooth to use. I just would highly recommend it.
So
Um,
someone's asking, does it have a stitch regulator on it?
It does have a stitch regulator on it. I don't get along with the stitch regulator. I taught myself how to free motion stitch without one, and now I want to be in control, and so
Yeah.
I don't use it, but it does have a stitch regulator on it, and it just the needle just glides through the fabric, and it goes right along. The thing that's difficult about it is, for me, you can't do like matchstick quilting on it. I don't have the control to do that. But
Oh,
they do have a ruler foot
I was
that
gonna
you
say
can
that.
get. That's another one of my projects for, when I'm home, is to get out the ruler foot and see if what I can do with it. I really like a more organic look, but I should know how to do it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a sit down machine, so I'm moving the fabric under the needle. Um, they do make a long arm. You can adapt, add a long arm to this machine, but I don't have the space for it.
Yeah.
And I,
Okay.
I just like the sit down free motion better for me,
Yeah.
just for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of used to that. I have a 790
Uh-huh.
matchstick. I can handle matchstick quilting on that. And then I did get the quilting ruler, so I have been playing with that a little bit, but not as much. I need a lot more practice for sure.
Yeah, I have another quilt here that I did. I just do my matchstick quilting
Oh
on
my God,
the on the
beautiful.
440.
That
So
is
yeah,
gorgeous.
so this is a different colorway for me, but lots
That's
of
a
fun. And I'll see if I can
big
get up a
quilt.
little closer. You can see the stitching.
Wow. How big is that?
I don't know. I guess you don't call that, I don't know, maybe you don't call that matchstick. I like to do uh, half inch, half inch widths with my walking foot.
Yep.
And then I go back and I split the difference between
Yes.
some of them so that they are irregular,
Yeah.
because I want that texture. So,
Hmm. I like that a lot.
yeah.
Um, so can you guesstimate how big that quilt is? Because that fact that you were able to do that in your 440 is kind of amazing.
Yeah, well, it's about 32 by 40 by 40. It's not real big.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to show us?
Um, let's see. Well, I wanted to talk a little, I guess I can talk a little bit about my so we downsized about 8 years ago when the kids left, and moved to a townhouse on the lake. And so
Uh-huh.
I have this beautiful lake view that the azaleas are blooming here now, and I have bluebirds in the bluebird house, and the babies are getting ready to fledge, and that's very exciting. And
Oh, beautiful.
here's my the I have a wall of quilts from the Sakwa benefit auction that I purchased. These are from other people. Um, I have to show you this one that is my favorite. I just got it in the last year or so. It's from Kathy Kleeman. It says, "Inspiration exists, but it has to find us working."
Oh, that's wonderful. I
In
love
this sort of wonky lettering. And that. This is not my work, of course. These are all Sakwa auction quilts.
yeah.
And so I have this is my cutting space, and I have these baskets with different scraps in them. Some of them are color coded, and some of them are kind of not.
Uh-huh.
And I use those for my improv, uh, my improv stuff. I start with scraps a lot.
Dude, they look like somewhat organized, like warm and cool
Yeah,
and
so these
green.
are these are the warm colors. Here's my greens. These are all cherry wood fabrics.
Okay.
Um,
Is
yeah,
that what
cherry
you
wood.
primarily use?
Um, and these are Kona cottons. Let's see. Sorry. I use cherry woods a lot, but I've been recently experimenting with combining different kinds of quilts. I'm not a dyer. I tried to learn years ago, and it just wasn't my skill. Although people tell me that I should try again, and I think I will, because it looks like a lot of fun. So I use a lot of cherry woods. I use a lot of just regular cotton from Kona, or what is it, Art Gallery.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, it looks like you
and
probably use solids. I'm not seeing any real print in your
I
work.
use a lot of solids. Yep. Um, I have this piece that I'm working on. I don't know if I can show it to you. Hang on. Sorry.
Okay.
Ah, why is it not turning? So this piece is is part of a new series that I'm working on, and I'm using batiks from Turtle Hand Batik.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
They're really fun, and I like them with the solids.
Oh,
So that's fun. I've got this is just the center block, and I'm not sure exactly where it's going, but I've been experimenting with putting some prints back in my work.
nice. So there's a question on the
So,
floor. Who did you study with, or who was your muse with improv piecing?
that's a good question. So um, I am completely self-taught as a quilter, and I taught myself traditional quilting, and then when I started working improvisationally, of course, Gwen Marston was a huge influence. I have, I think, all of her books. Um, and yeah, this is a really good idea. You should get Tina on
Yeah, I
talk about
agree.
Turtle Hand. Yeah, that's a
I
good
agree.
idea. And I have in the past 3 years, I have studied with Nancy Crow, and that has sent me off in a little bit of a different direction, but I'm still, doing this sort of block-based work that I've always done.
So have you been going up to the Crow Barn for
Yes,
those?
yes.
Okay.
I took my first class there in 2016.
Okay. And
Is that right? 2017. I'm sorry, 2017.
do you typically go back every year?
I have gone back the last 3 years. I don't know about this year, but
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
um,
I'm not brave enough to do that yet. Everybody's saying I should go, but
well,
I feel like I need
it's
more quilting under my belt.
yeah, it's not for the faint-hearted, but but
Right.
it is a graduate level course in design.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
that you couldn't get it
fascinating.
anywhere else.
Yep. Yep. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So
So,
I feel,
sorry.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
So you also wrote a book in
I did.
2016 with CNT.
Yes. It's called Artful Improv. And it explains a lot of these ideas that I have, that I've been playing with for quite a while. It's a technique book. It's not really a pattern book, and so I talk about color. I talk about principles, simple principles of design to use when you're creating. I talk about and I give the ideas on the techniques that I use to create my quilts.
Oh,
So that's because of the book is why I've been able to travel and teach and lecture, and that's just been tons and tons of fun.
oh, good. Well, that's great. Well, is there anything else you want to share with us today?
Um, I think that's it, unless there's any questions.
There was one question. I think Patty Kopic was asking, when you go to the Crow Barn, how long do you typically stay for?
You have to go for at least 2 weeks.
Okay.
She does 2 week sessions, two 2 week sessions in the spring and two 2 week sessions in the fall. So each week is a different class, but she doesn't allow you to take just 1 week because you
Now,
really have to.
is that true for the other teachers as well? Because I know, for instance, Carol Soderlin teaches.
No, no. Yeah, you
Those
can,
are
the
one
other
week.
teachers
Got
that
it.
you can take just 1 week, but Nancy wants you to take 2 weeks.
Got it.
Um, And oh, the other Libby's asking. I do have share a studio at the Torpedo Factory in Old Town Alexandria, Virginia. It was actually a factory that they built torpedoes, and they transformed it in the 70s into an artist studio space. And that's a lot of fun to be involved in. I'm in a fiber studio with 7 other artists. It's closed now, obviously, but Livy visited me there. That was fun, and it's a great space.
Awesome.
Um,
can you? Oh, Libby's asking, are you able to get in there to even get to your stuff, or is it totally locked up?
Artists can get in to get to their stuff, but it's closed to the public.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, great. Well,
Well, thank you so much, Pokey. I really
yeah.
appreciate it. This has been just something that I really look forward to every day. So thanks so much for doing it.
Oh, good. Well, yeah, thanks for watching and thanks for coming on. I am going to pop this up on YouTube. So this video will live forever on a platform. So I'll be doing that this afternoon. I'll send you the link.
Okay, great.
And then could you just close and let everybody know what your website address is in case they want to learn more about you and figure out where you're teaching next?
Sure. So my website is cindygrisdela.com. And my Instagram handle is at Cindy Grisdela Quilts.
Awesome.
So I love Instagram and post on there almost daily.
Yeah. Oh, great. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.